Hey everyone, it's Jess joined by Conan Gray on TikTok Radio IRL. Conan, I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Thank you for having me.
You have so much going on. You have your newest album, Found Heaven, releasing very soon.
Mm-hmm.
You have Lonely Dancer, which was released, and Alley Rose is officially out. What are your emotions like at a time like this?
I'm jet lagged. I don't know where I am. I got back from Paris last night at like 1 a.m. and I woke up. I was like, I gotta come here. But I'm excited. I'm nervous. It's stressful, but it's good.
How has the reception been on Alley Rose?
It's been great. I mean, like that song is my favorite song on the album, and I can usually tell like if something is my favorite, then I know it's gonna be other people's favorite. So it's been awesome. I mean, everyone's been really nice, and then
I remember hearing you say that this was, or I think I saw it on your TikTok actually, you saying the Alley Rose was your favorite on the album. What was it about this song that made it your favorite?
it's always the last song that I write for an album that ends up being my favorite, always, without fail. And I just noticed it this time around because now I'm on my third album, so it's like I'm like, oh wait, so like for my first EP before I ever put out an album, it was this one song. The last song was this song called Lookalike, which is like very much like the fan favorite. Then with Kid Crow, it was Heather was my favorite on the album and the last song that I wrote. And then with the next album, the last song that I wrote for that one was Memories. And then that ended up being everyone's favorite. So now with this one, my last one that I wrote was Alley Rose. And I was like, I know it's going to be people's favorite because for some reason it always ends up being that last one.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
With you talking through it as well, just like as a fan of your music, it's like every song you list. Oh, yep. Makes sense.
Right,
makes
that
sense.
one. It's so funny. It's so weird. I don't know what it is. I think maybe it has to do with like perspective. You know, you kind of like get enough distance from something to like start to understand it. But yeah.
What was the process with writing this song?
Alley Rose, I wrote while I was in London. I was super heartbroken because I'd just been through a breakup, and it was like my first real breakup that really like affected me. And I was in London, and I was kind of like, I was supposed to see this person that I was seeing, and then ended up getting dumped, so I didn't have anyone to see. So then I was like in London alone. I was like, oh God, like what do I do? So I started writing this song, you know, and I was like, oh, where'd you go, Alley Rose? But originally I'd written it as, oh, where'd you go, Abbey Road, because I was in London.
Oh,
and that's why,
I was wondering what Alley Rose meant. I was like, I know it has to relate to either a street or something.
Yeah, I wanted to like come up with like a name that like made sense for that, like something that sounded like a name. That way you don't really think too much about like what, like who it is or anything like that. But also there's significance to like the meaning of the name, but I kind of don't want to over explain. That way people can kind of just like interpret it as whatever they want. And I think when you hear a name in a song, if it's a general enough name, like you kind of think of someone, you know, you think of someone in your life no matter who you are. So I wanted to kind of be like that kind of thing.
So on a day like today, when the song is released, knowing that you wrote it out of heartbreak, do you feel a little bit of that heartbreak right now, or are you in a happy mindset?
I always say that kind of like by the time a song has come out, I've usually kind of already processed that thing. So I feel like a lot better already. So I mostly feel happy and excited that people like the song. And like, I don't know, it's just, I don't know, pretty chill for the extreme emotions I was feeling in that moment, for sure.
I was listening to your music on the way in, your latest releases. And I feel like with Lonely Dancer, I thought of a TV show. I was curious if you have any sort of like TV show or movie that you would want Lonely Dancer or Alley Rose to be a part of the soundtrack of. And I'll tell you which one I thought of after your answers.
I mean, I'm gonna say for a movie, I would say Dirty Dancing. Dirty Dancing totally inspired this whole album, for sure.
Oh, wow.
Like, unironically.
I love that.
I had this moment, or like before I made the album, where I was with my best friend and we were like in Texas, because I'm from Texas, and we were like sitting on our couch eating brownies, watching Dirty Dancing, like literally sobbing, being like, this is the best film ever made, because it actually is the best film ever made. It's actually incredible, and Patrick Swayze and like that whole kind of like time of movies was so good.
Just to let you know, I thought of Stranger Things.
Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Right.
Because the little synth melody,
Exactly.
it kind of sounds like.
Exactly
I
what I
can't
thought
wait
of.
for the next season of Stranger Things.
I know, maybe they'll use your music.
Yeah, actually, they legally have to.
After this, absolutely. I was curious about how you felt about this album in comparison to your previous two.
Well, it's very much. I mean, in my mind, it is like a bit of a concept album. It's like a little world that very much like I wanted to try something different and try something new. And my main goal with this album was to surprise people. You know, my first two albums I think sound very hand in hand. They're like brother and sister. Whereas like this one is like their weird dejected cousin. And I just wanted to make something that made people be like, oh, this is not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Which is fun because, you know, third album, I never thought I'd even get to a second album, so it's fun that I get to try something out for my third.
Just keep it going. And I think it definitely sounds different from your previous two. Alley Rose, you said, is your favorite song on the album, but do you have a favorite line?
I do. It's in the bridge. The bridge in general is my favorite, but there's this line that says, I thought hands were made for fighting. I thought eyes were made to cry, but you're the first person that I've seen who's proven that might be a lie. And
Do you actually see?
oh my God, you actually have chills. You actually have
I'm not
chills.
kidding.
This is not
These
bullshit.
weren't there a second ago.
Actual chills. Wow, my power.
Your power.
But it's kind of the first time in a song. I've written so many like breakup songs in my life where I'm like, screw you, I hate you, you suck. And it was the first time where I don't say that, where it's actually more like, I loved you so much. You taught me so much about life, so much about love. And like even though it's over now, I still cherish those memories and still appreciate you for what happened, which I think is like a point of growth that everyone has to reach eventually when it comes to relationships, but it takes everyone a different amount of time. And I learned that lesson hard time this year for sure.
Absolutely. In order to start moving on again. And, you know, that's really what life is all about. Love. Whether it be about finding a person that you love or even just music, you know?
Yeah.
It's all
It's just about passion. And I don't know, when I think about life, I used to be someone who was so afraid of like getting my feelings hurt or hurting someone else's feelings. I would just like sit in my room all the time, be like, oh, like I don't want to try things. I don't want to put myself out there. And then this year I was like, oh my gosh, like what a waste of life. Like just go out there, make some mistakes. You might hurt some people. You might get your feelings hurt really bad. You might get your heart super broken in London and write a song called Alley Rose. But it's worth it. It's totally worth it.
Yeah, getting your heart broken, as terrible as it is in the moment, it's a good thing.
It's such a good thing. And it's a privilege in a way, because if you got your heart broken, that means that at some point you loved something. And like, that's the best thing you could ever do, is love something, even if it doesn't deserve to be loved.
Yeah, absolutely. What type of music do you listen to when you're going through a breakup?
When I'm going through a breakup, I don't listen to sad music.
Really?
No, because I have to like combat everything. So there's songs on this album that are like really fun, but are like the lyrics are the most depressing on the album, but I like hide them.
Yes.
That's kind of how I'm like, I hide behind. So like when I'm like really sad, I'll listen to like, I don't know, like, yeah, my playlist on my phone was just like 80s bangers and like just like weird dance pop music. And then when I'm really happy, I combat it with like really sad music because it's like calming to me in a way.
I see that. It makes sense. I mean, it's a little different from what I do, but I respect it.
Yeah, everyone has their mode. Everyone has their modes.
Sure.
Yeah.
With you, I wanted to talk a little bit about TikTok. Obviously, we're on TikTok radio, but you're also big on TikTok yourself.
I'm huge.
You're
on
like, I'm massive. But just like in terms of connecting with your audience, I was curious about how TikTok has sort of changed how you do connect with your audience.
I mean, not really in any way, in the sense that like, I've been on the internet for most of Gen Z. Like I was like born and raised on the internet, so we've seen so many different apps come and go. It's really no different. So I don't know. I just post whatever. I just do. I don't know. I love TikTok, as in like I'm like addicted to it in like a really unhealthy way. And but I don't know. I try not to think about it too much. I just make stuff. I don't know.
Do you have a favorite comment from someone that might be a little too niche, but
Oh my
if you
God.
have one that stuck out.
There was a comment on Allie Rose that was like, this song is like if Winner and Neverending Song had a baby and got depression from both of its parents.
Oh my God.
I was like, that's creative.
Okay, chill.
Yeah.
A little too
I was
accurate.
like, I get that. I was red.
Yeah, absolutely. The Jonas Brothers video.
The Jonas
We
Brothers.
have to talk about it because
the Jonas Brothers video.
it was so funny when a girl in your crowd was like, Conan, I saw you open for the Jonas Brothers. You're talking to everyone else. I'd never opened for the Jonas Brothers.
I've never opened this. So like the comments on that video are like, oh, not him gaslighting you. Guys, I thought I was being gaslit. And then mid-sentence, like, I don't know, a few minutes later, I was like, oh my God, I have technically opened for the Jonas Brothers. The reason why I didn't remember was because it was actually just a festival. Like it was a radio promo festival where they were like the last people to play on that stage. But I didn't know.
So
that
funny.
until I got there. And then they were like the Jonas Brothers are also like, they're also here. And I was like, the Jonas Brothers? Like, what? I went to the year 3000. Not much has changed, but we live underwater. I was like, oh my God. I was in shock, but I didn't know. And also like, there were like 7 other people playing like before or after me. So I didn't really feel like I opened for the Jonas Brothers, but I guess in some people's perception I did. And then I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, oh my God, I was just gaslighting you. But I totally have, in a way, opened for the Jonas Brothers.
It was the funniest thing. And then seeing how big that video was after the fact,
Oh my God.
you're like, why does TikTok do this?
I don't know.
Isn't it crazy?
I was like, what? The video is crazy. It's also just hilarious because we're having like a conversation in the middle of like thousands of people looking at us.
Right?
It was ridiculous.
I've also seen a ton of videos and posts from you with Olivia Rodrigo, most recently for her birthday. It's always really cool.
I don't remember what we did on her
Well,
birthday.
I think that was on
Don't
a
remember.
different social media, but it's just always cool seeing like real relationships because this is an industry that's notoriously known for being difficult to make friends. So I was curious about how nice it is to have that friendship that you can always go back to.
I mean, it's hard because I have to pay her to hang out.
To hang out with you?
Yeah, I have to pay her. It's millions of dollars. It's exhausting. No, of course. I mean, like friends are everything to me.
Yeah.
And I've always been someone who's like not been that great when it comes to love, but friends, I have always been blessed with the best friends I could ever think of.
Wow.
And she's such a great person. And seeing all her videos from the Guts tour, I've never felt more FOMO in my life. Like I just want to be there. And yeah, I mean, she's the best. She's the best. And it's nice to see the world also agree.
Yeah, you can tell how valid your guys' relationship is for sure. Do you listen to each other's music before it comes out and like provide feedback for each other?
Yes, but it's I think it's like, like when you play your music for people who are way too in your life, it's like their opinion isn't as, it's like harder to tell what is right and what is wrong because they like actually know the stories. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So we play each other's music. I mean, I play my music to all of my friends and I have to get all of their opinions and decide like what makes sense for certain things, and they all have different opinions. So like my best friend back home in Texas that I've known since the 6th grade will like have a different opinion than Liv. It's like but it's important to play your music for people in general, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like it would almost be harder to play it for people
Oh my
who
God,
are
of
close
course,
to you, right?
of course. Much harder to play music for people who are close to you because their opinions simultaneously matter the most,
Yeah.
but also are probably the most like confusing to navigate because it's so intertwined in your world. So
Right.
music is like a hard thing because like when you're releasing music, it's a different thing than just writing for yourself because there's other people who are going to hear. So sometimes like if I write a line that makes perfect sense in my mind and then like my friend will hear and be like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you don't get it? You don't get it?
Come on, please.
So it's different.
Speaking of friends, will we be seeing any features?
No
this album?
features.
Okay.
No features. I'm not super keen on features, but maybe in the future. But there's nothing on this. I think when I'm working on an album, I just get a little kind of like like I get all crazy and like sit in my house and like just sit alone all the time. So I don't really think of doing features.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Does it for you tell a full story from start to finish?
I think so. And it's very much like I said, like it's a bubble of an album. Like I don't know. I know for a fact it doesn't sound like the music that I've made before, and I don't know if the next music I make is going to sound like it. It's just kind of like this little experience. And I hope that people can have fun with it. And I had a lot of fun making the album, so I hope people can like hear the fun and not take it all too seriously too. I think sometimes people are very serious. I'm like, guys, I was like laughing for half of the album. Yeah.
Remember, Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing is what I was thinking about.
You have your 2024 tour coming up. Yeah. I'm so excited for you. You're going to be in North America, Europe, and Australia. Mm-hmm. What are you most looking forward to?
I mean, I love being on tour, and being home is so boring and I go crazy. So I'm really happy.
Just landed from Paris.
I know. I'm just like, can't wait to not be home anymore. And so I'm excited to see people. I'm excited to sing them this new album and also like all the other stuff that I've made. And I like to, I don't know, my shows are really like fun and lighthearted, and I like to make people feel like they can be themselves and dance and laugh and hopefully cry while also laughing at the same time. Like that's kind of what I go for.
Yeah, I think you do a great job at that. It's some would say unhinged a little bit.
It's a little unhinged for sure.
In the best way.
In a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you or do you prefer, I guess, singing in studio or performing on stage?
I don't really my favorite part of all of it is just writing the songs, and I just like sit in my room and write the songs. Everything else is kind of like equal to me. I don't really know. It's all such a different experience. I think recording is really stressful because it's like sometimes when you're recording a song, it kind of feels like when you're trying to say a sentence but the words aren't coming out right.
Yeah.
It's like you're recording them, but for whatever reason, like the sounds in your ears like just aren't coming out the way that they should. But then singing live is a very different thing because it's like more just like a playful, fun experience with like a lot of other people. So very different things. But maybe I prefer performing. Yeah.
I feel like you just have so much fun when you're up there. So that's
I have a lot of fun. I don't even like I don't even really focus on singing well. I just want to have fun. No, I wish it came naturally. I'd mostly just want to have fun. So sometimes I'll be up there like literally like laughing as I'm like singing and everyone's like laughing. Like I sometimes I feel like at my shows it's more people singing than even me.
So is that a go-to move of yours when you forget a lyric, or is it you trying to connect? Or do you have a go-to move when you forget a lyric?
I don't forget lyrics. Sometimes there's notes where I'm like, I'm not gonna hit that. So I'm like, I wish I.
Yes.
So sometimes that. But no, I don't forget lyrics. Surprisingly, not. Maybe a few times. I don't know.
I mean, it's understandable if you do.
My brain literally turns off when I'm on stage. I'm like not even there. I'm like projecting above my body when I'm on stage. I don't. No thoughts in my head.
Yeah,
not a
memory.
single thought in my head. I'm just like, blah, 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 blah.
Well, before you go, Found Heaven is releasing on April 5th. What's a word that you would use to describe this era that you're in?
Experimental, for sure.
Oh, I like that. I think that's a good one right there.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm Jess. This was Conan Gray on TikTok Radio IRL.